Morning, students. A long time since we met together as a class, but at least with God's grace, we are able to do online class. So, as informed earlier, we will be discussing about the importance of illustrations in children's books, the paper done by Mabel Sagan. I would like to emphasize on some of the important points. If you listen attentively to these points, it will be very helpful for you to prepare for any type of questions from the examination point of view. The best way to learn is to jot down the ideas and to develop these ideas into paragraphs and along with your analysis and your ideas. That would make the perfect answer. So the first point that I would like to say is that children are very sensitive to pictures. As you would have seen that small children love to play with a special toy or a special picture or maybe a favorite song. This sort of repetition gives them a sort of recognition of the things that they are dealing with. Okay? And they are also able to distinguish their family members from strangers because they are seeing them on a daily basis. So the first important point is that children are very sensitive to pictures. And in contrast with adults for whom verbal code is very, very important, for toddlers and for preschoolers, pictorial code becomes the most direct means of communication. That's why writers who write for children make use of folding books and very colorful books. It is all to develop the imagination of the children. And it is a fact that illustration accentuates the cognitive function in a child. Hence, illustrations play a very important role in the overall development of the child. Now, we can, when we say overall development, we can divide it into three phases. The first thing is stimulating his imagination. So, these pictures help to stimulate the imagination of the children and then arousing his sense of perception, how he perceives things, how he looks at things, and then gradually developing his own potential. So you can understand that illustrations play a very important role in the overall development of the child. And especially in countries which have dealt with colonization and cultural imperialism, in fact, the modern generation are quite unaware of how their ancestors lived, in the years before colonization, and they are not aware of their rich cultural traditions. So when they write stories about their rich past and the cultural heritage, it is very difficult for young children to understand those images and those ideas, and even in fact to imagine a place which is being described in the book. In such situations, these pictures and illustrations help the children to understand many things about their past, especially the kind of food they ate, the kind of clothes they wore, the utensils they used, the games they played for recreation, and what were the occupation of the people living in the ancient times. And Mabel Sagan gives example of the aquatic cloth, which is a very traditional cloth which is done through handloom in Nigeria, and which youngsters in modern Nigeria are unaware about that. So when they see the picture of the aquatic cloth, they are able to understand what it is. And then we all always have this rich tradition of folk tales, and folk tales are very beautiful tales which is very special for each geographical regions, and it evokes a lot of images in the mind of the child, and it deals with a lot of mythical events and people with 10 heads, or half man and half another animal. So these things could be very taxing on the child to imagine, and the illustrations for folk tales will be really beneficial for the child to understand what these people mean through these folk tales. And the very important point to remember is that picture books convey a distinct message, and it is always better, and it is the duty of the illustrator to only depict pictures which are very positive. It is very disturbing and disquieting to indulge in negative images and to spread negativity and wrong notions. So these illustrations help to correct wrong notions, and actually it helps to uplift the child in three ways: how? Emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually. So it plays a very important role, these illustrations. And these illustrations, should be very careful when the illustrators use illustration. They should be careful not to perpetuate the stereotypes which have been used often in such books. They should, take a stance, and they should avoid perpetuation of stereotypes. For example, old age is often depicted as something very sad, and a bent spine, and a walking stick, and a very frail person. But this advancement in medical science and healthy food habits and rigorous exercises, veterans are able to perform better than youngsters nowadays. So such type of stereotypes should be avoided. And then illustrators should experiment to present their ideas in a very novel manner. They should not be discouraged to experiment. They should experiment. And the next important point is children are very perceptive. They love to learn many new things, and hence they must be challenged. We should not have this notion that children will not be able to understand, and they might not be able to understand a different culture, that they are not aware of sophisticated taste. But this is a very wrong notion, and illustrators should come up with imaginative and adventurous illustrations, because art is like food, and food, you are familiar with certain cuisine, and then later on you try to experiment, you try to taste different cuisine, and you acquire a taste for different kinds of food. So art is also the same. And now with the advent of modern technology and urbanization, children are developing a taste for sophisticated taste. Hence, illustrators should take it as a rule to come up with illustrations which are very challenging, and which helps to fuel the imagination of the reader, the young readers. And the very important part in children's books is, of course, humor. Humor is very important, and that is why when children who love to read comics and who watch cartoons, they watch it in a sort of very addictive manner. The reason behind this is because of the sense of humor shown in these programs. And children who read comics will generally become potential readers when they grow up as adults. So they are actually sowing the seeds for the reading habit, which they will inculcate, and they become very serious readers when they grow up. So to conclude, there are three important points. The first one is the role of illustrations, how it is very important for overall development, and how it is used for a direct means of communication and how it stimulates the mind, arouses the sense of perception, and also develops the potential in children. The second important point is it helps the children to develop a sense of identity and awareness of his cultural heritage, and being proud about it, and to have a better understanding of his past. And the third important point is the role of humor. Humor enhances the values of good illustrations in picture books. So these are very important points that Mabel Sagan has covered in the paper, The Importance of Illustration in Children's Books. Thank you.